We have a new moon coming up in the sign of Cancer on the 13th or 14th of July. This represents a new beginning. When the sun and the moon together, that is the start of a new cycle that will unfold over the following lunar months as the sun and the moon do their dance in the sky, but even over the next year, because it will be another year before we get another new moon in the sign of Cancer. But this new moon comes with some extra energy, and that's to do with the configurations that are going on in the sky all around, including there's a backwards looking aspect to this new moon because Mercury is retrograde. And as well as that, there's a great future focus with this new moon because of the lineup of the planets, the outer planets, the slow moving outer planets that are in this very rare formation known as a basket or Barbault's baskets, where they are forming trines and sextiles to each other, all representing a really big development for humanity, for the world, for politics, for our social situation and our social climate, everything, technology. But for some parts of your life, and this is covering many parts, this configuration is forming. We are moving into a future. So welcome to this video. I'm going to talk briefly about the new moon in the sign of Cancer. My name is Fiona of Sun and Moon Calendar. I am based in New Zealand or Aotearoa, but this astrology is for the whole world, and at the moment I'm actually in Vancouver, Canada, visiting my partner. There's planes, hang on, can you see that? There it was. There's a plane flying overhead, so I hope you can hear me all right. Anyway, this new moon is in the sign of Cancer. I'm going to talk about the Mercury retrograde, the backward looking aspect of the new moon and how you can work with that energy, and then that grand configuration of Barbault's baskets and maybe how you can work with that energy, though it's very new and unknown and very kind of epic, almost too big to see. And then I'll do a quick sign by sign breakdown. I'm not going to talk for long. I don't even know if you can hear me all right with all these planes flying overhead. I've come to Canada from Aotearoa, New Zealand, to visit my partner, and I've just found a park in Vancouver. So let's get into it. So we've got this new moon in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is about home and family and sensitivities and private emotions and deep roots, even emotional foundation, but also ancestry and your family roots, your family of origin. That's the energy of Cancer. Although, having said that, it does fall in a different part of the sky for everybody, depending on your rising sign. So you can listen to that more specifically in the all signs breakdown. But the sign of Cancer, yeah, it's sensitive and emotional and intuitive and private and protective. So there's that energy going on, and we've had a lot of focus on those kinds of feelings over the last year. Jupiter has been going through the sign of Cancer, and that part of your sky, that house that Cancer falls in for you, has received some blessings and development. So you might want to think back to the last year and think about what parts of your life have had opportunities come along and doors open up and blessings bestowed upon you that maybe you didn't have to work quite as hard for. I mean, you might have done the work for them, but maybe suddenly the doors opened up. I've had that for a few parts of my life where there's been these lovely opportunities come along, and I've thought, oh, that's so nice. And it's just this luck thing that Jupiter can bring. Jupiter has now moved on from there, and you can go back to my last video where I'm talking all about, and that's a long video, talking all about Jupiter in the sign of Leo, where it will be for the next year. But Jupiter just moved out of Cancer very recently, so we've had that Cancer energy, and at the same time we've had Mercury going through Cancer an extra long time because Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Cancer. So that's a looking back. Sorry, there's lots of midgies around. I don't know what they're called because I'm in a different country, but I'm just like wiping them away, trying not to hurt them. Okay, So Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Cancer, and the day before the new moon, there's a cazimi where Mercury is conjunct the Sun. So that day, which will be the 12th or the 13th, depending on where you are in the world, at the end of this I might look up the times for that and try and estimate. Yeah, that Mercury cazimi, that's a time where you can kind of take stock of what Mercury retrograde has brought you, like the errors that show up during Mercury retrograde and where you have to fix things from the past. But also you might find at the moment that you're going back over things, you're doing things again that you've done before. For example, I've just come to Canada to see my partner, and he's buying a vehicle, and last year we spent so much time working on buying vehicles and having trouble with vehicles and having to sell and buy again and going to garages. And so we've just spent the morning going to garages and talking about vehicles and weighing up the decisions. It's all feeling really familiar because we spent so much time on this last year. You might find in some area of your life there's this going back over things that's happening now, and whether that is correcting mistakes from the past or correcting other people's mistakes from the past, or revisiting something that you haven't, that you thought you might have left behind, but it's coming back. Okay, so there's some going back over stuff with this new moon. All right, and Mercury will be retrograde until about, I think it's around about the 24th of July. So we're still under that revisionary time influence. You can also use Mercury retrograde for research. So if you're starting something new with this new moon, it's a good idea to put your time now into the research and the planning, and maybe try to avoid making any big decisive commitments where you're signing on the dotted line until after Mercury goes forward around about the 24th of July, and even a little bit after that. It might be a good idea to wait till then. Okay, and then the other big part of this new moon is over the next couple of weeks we've got these exact lineups of the outer planets. So including, all right, Jupiter, early degrees of Leo opposite Pluto. So that might bring up some intensity and something grand and big and deep at the same time. Jupiter is about big, expansive stuff. It's generally a benefic. It brings lucky opportunities. It's generous. It's ethical. And then Pluto is the lord of the underworld. So that's about the deep down recesses, psychological recesses of our minds. It's also about the underneath, the underbelly, like what is hidden underneath, and that can be incredible power, incredible wealth. Incredible secrets. Okay, so the underlying power, the underlying forces, and these can be for good or bad, but with Pluto it can often be seen as kind of negative, kind of dark. I shouldn't say kind of dark, yeah, where the power is raw and it's can be greedy. Yeah, and manipulation can go on. So Jupiter and Pluto opposite each other, that might bring some kind of tussle between on the surface level. It might be about the individual self, and because Jupiter's in Leo, the individual self and the performance side of things, and being a shining person out in the world. Leo's ruled by the sun, and how you shine in the world. And then on the other side, there's the deep down motivations that are hidden, the deep down desires that are hidden, the deep down fears. And there could be some kind of tussle between, maybe within yourself, it's what you're showing showing to the outer world. What is how you shine out in the world, perform and lead, and your generous, charismatic self in the world, versus some underlying hidden power moves and emotions and fears and desires, and they could be to do with large groups and their agendas, technology, large organizations. It could be something about the hidden power of the tech giants, or the big food, big pharma, big ag, something like that. That could be playing out in the world, but also somehow in your personal life. So look out for kind of oppositional situations, and maybe look at what's going on underneath. I've probably gone on too long about that one because there's so much more. As well as that, Jupiter is going to be sextile with Uranus. That's also about technology and new innovation, progression. And then Uranus is sextile to Neptune, and if I do manage to do some more videos on this trip, I'll talk about these some more. And then Neptune is sextile to Pluto. So this big basket formation is sort of like, let me see, so here we go. So we've got Jupiter opposite Pluto, and then Neptune, and then Uranus, and then back up to Jupiter. So it's this half a hexagon. It's quite pretty in the sky. You can look at my other videos where I've shown some pictures of it. Yeah, so that is, what does that represent? Oh my gosh, I think it's like a whole big stepping forwards aspect for humanity, probably into more technology, innovation, more information, and we are up leveling. And of course it's up to us to make it good where we can. And I think it's kind of so big that we won't see it till afterwards. But in your personal life, just know that you are, all of us, we do need to move into the new. Like, it's asking us to move into new realms that we maybe never. I'm trying to find the right flip for the sunlight and not have that thing in the background. Okay, maybe that's better. Maybe it's, like time to try things that are out of your comfort zone. And then, that could be challenging, and then you just give yourself a break for a little while and then push yourself again into new stuff out of the comfort zone. It might not all work out at once. This is a big, long journey that is not going to be one and done. There's some Canadian geese behind me. I'm just going to show those. Can you see them? Eating grass. It's nice. Canada geese. We got them in New Zealand as well. I think they came over from Canada. Yeah, so this new moon is part of that really big, epic, whatever it is, progress step for humanity, for the generations that are alive today, where we're stepping into the new, and so many of those formations become exact in July. Okay, all right. So I'm going to do really briefly an all signs breakdown so that you at least know what part of life. I can't go on because this is tricky to record. I don't even know if you can hear this. Just sort out where I'm sitting. Okay, yeah, so I'll just do a short all signs breakdown so you know what part of your life this is affecting, starting from Cancer. And if you can listen to your sun, moon and rising, and this new moon is ruled by the moon because Cancer is ruled by the moon. So if you are listening for your rising sign, that is actually works the best, because you know what, I'm going to pause. I have to move. The sun's coming in too strongly now. Pause. I think that's better. Okay, so yeah, your rising sign is the best one to listen to, I think, because that sets up your house system so that you know what part of your life each sign falls in. And so if you know your rising sign, or you know the time of your birth, that can be looked up online. Your sun represents more about how you shine in the world, so it's more career orientated, the outer self that you present to the world, but it is to do with your soul. Like, it's not just outer appearances, it's also about how your soul, your inner soul, wants to shine in the world. So the sun is very important, but it tells us less about the different parts of life. And the moon is important for this one because the moon rules the sign of Cancer, and the moon is about feelings and emotions and how you respond to things in life and how you keep yourself happy in life, like on a daily basis. What little things in life make you happy? That's an interesting thing to notice. So you can also listen for your moon sign. So here I go, starting with the sign of Cancer. If you are Cancer, sun, moon, or rising, you have a new moon in your sign, Cancer, and you've had other things going on with your sign. You've just had a year of Jupiter going through your sign, helping you to expand and see beyond maybe the more narrow boundaries that you had around your life more, and that expansion might have felt a bit lucky and blessed. And then you've now got Mercury going retrograde. So some of that moving forward that you've done over the last year with Jupiter in your sign, you might be reviewing that and thinking, who am I in this world? How do I approach this world? How do I see the world? How does the world see me? Mercury retrograde is about really kind of practical life admin and life details, because Mercury is to do with communication and talking and writing and putting out, expressing verbally and or in written form through media what you want to say in the world. And it's the ruler of your 12th house, so perhaps you're also thinking about what spirit wants to say to you, because the 12th house, you know, that's pretty connected with spirit when you've got it going good with your 12th house. Anyway, there's some going back over for you, for everything about you and your life and your identity in many ways with this going back over. And then the big, maybe I'll just mention the opposition with Pluto that's coming up. So Jupiter opposite Pluto. So that's Jupiter's in your second house of your finances, and it's opposite Pluto, which is in your 8th house of your partner's finances. It's something about your self-worth and the value you put on yourself and your possessions, opposite to Pluto, which is about your partner's resources and or your investments or retirement savings. So some questions coming up over the next few weeks with that. Anyway, a new start for you, Cancer. Once a year you have this new moon in your sign. You're not always going to have Mercury retrograde there for that new moon in your sign, but you do this year, and that's okay. You've had a lot of developments lately with Jupiter going through your sign. It's okay to have a little bit of time to review and integrate. So all the best, Cancer. Okay, if you are Leo, sun, moon, or rising, but especially Leo rising, this new moon in the sign of Cancer, that's happening in your 12th house. So that's your hidden house. Oh, Leo, I've got a friend here. I'm just going to show you my friend. Eating away at the grass, keeping the grass down. So Leo, this new moon is in your 12th house, which is a hidden house. It's your private life. There's some new start in an area of life that's a little bit private and hidden from the world. Perhaps something to do with rest homes, care homes, hospitals, prisons, maybe even libraries, places that are out of the way, or retreat centers. Or it could be the ways that you escape some new beginning. And Mercury's going through there. Maybe you're reviewing any of these areas and thinking about the ways that you escape from life, like your escapist practices. Is that scrolling? Is it reading a good book? Is it getting stuck into your astrological study? That can be an escape for me at times. Is it addictions, substance addictions, or overwork? How do you deal with your emotions in a kind of way that's hidden, or just like get out of the world? Anyway, it could be a good time with Mercury retrograde and a new moon to take some time out, to go for a walk in the hills, to just spend some time alone, and maybe you can connect with the universe a bit. Get some insights, some messages from above, from the divine, because you're more connected there at the moment with Mercury retrograde in that 12th house and the new moon. There's a lot of energy there. Yeah, when there was a new moon in my 12th house earlier in the year, I ended up not having work. Oh, I'm going to pause. This is a really loud plane. Yeah, when I had a new moon in my 12th house, and there were actually a whole lot of planets in the 12th house, extra energy, even more than a new moon, I ended up with no work, and I had some time out writing out all my songs that I'd ever written, and it was awesome because now I've got them all written up. Really neat, and I just got totally in a flow state, just picking up the guitar whenever I wanted. What is your artistic pursuit, your private artistic pursuit, Leo? You might be doing more of that. That's a good thing to do. Also, charitable works. You might be thinking with compassion about people less fortunate. That's something to think about as well. Reviewing something there. So all the best for that, Leo, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Virgo, sun, moon or rising, but especially Virgo rising, this new moon in the sign of Cancer with Mercury retrograde is falling in your 11th house of your friendship groups and the gains that you get from your career, and also your long-term goals. So there are things to review there. Is there something? Well, there's a new start. There's a new start because the new moon is a new start, but also Mercury's retrograde. So there's some way that you're going back over things, okay? Revising something about your social networks, the friendship groups that you belong to. Maybe some old stuff comes up and you've got to review it, but then there's some kind of new start as well. Or maybe you're looking at your long-term goals and wondering, what am I heading for? What do I want to aim for my 5-year plan or my 10-year plan? And you're doing a bit of a review with that, and that might help you develop, to formulate the new beginning that you want in that longer vision, the next steps perhaps in that vision towards those long-term goals. Okay. And also because the 11th house is about your gains from career, whether that is your salary or your status or other benefits that you get from your career, the access to networks from your career, perhaps there's something to review there. So check that you're being paid the right amount, Virgo. And yeah, just maybe there's some kind of project or thing that needs to be revised. But yeah, enjoy that new beginning, and whatever's going on in the friendship groups and the networks, hopefully it all gets sorted out and everybody's happy, and then you move on. Okay, so all the best, Virgo. Blessings for that new start and that new moon. If you are Libra, sun, moon or rising, but especially Libra rising, the new moon in the sign of Cancer with Mercury retrograde there is happening in your 10th house. This is the house of your career, your public reputation, what you're known for in the world, and even where there's a legacy that you want to leave behind in the world. Okay, so what's going on there? Is there a new beginning coming for you? The new moon would suggest that there is, but there's something to go back over because Mercury's been retrograde there, and it will be retrograde for another week and a half or so after that new moon. All right, so some kind of new beginning. It could be a new work project. It could even be some kind of new job that you've got, and then once you start the new job you find out, oh, hang on, it's not quite what I thought. Same could happen with a work project. It could be some kind of change of career direction. So the 10th house is also about the legacy you might want to leave behind when you're gone. Like what can you leave for the world that you've helped with, to something that you have a sense that there's some continuity, and that the good and the work that you've done in your career lives on into the future. And that 10th house it likes things to be done in a step-by-step way, and you might be reviewing your steps towards whatever that legacy is, that thing that you're wanting to set up for the future. You might be reviewing what those steps are, or even reviewing what the legacy is that you want to leave behind. Okay, so some kind of review, but of course there's all this other exciting stuff going on with Pluto and Jupiter opposite each other. So Jupiter's just come into your 11th house of your gains and your blessings from work and your social networks and all these other important and very, very rare configurations with the outer planets, Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune. There's just new beginnings and developments and strange things happening that will make more sense in the future. So get ready to embrace the change that's coming. And I'll just add, like, Cancer is your career house. So Cancer is a sign that falls in your house of career, Libra. So it might be that in your career you're kind of sensitive and protective, and maybe you've got a lot of capacity to emotionally care for those that you work with, or to care and protect whatever it is that you're working on, that you see it as precious, and you will work to protect it, and the sensitivities around it. Anyway, all the best for the looking back and the looking forward. Okay, if you are Scorpio, Sun, Moon or Rising, but especially Scorpio Rising, the new moon in the sign of Cancer, I'm not pausing for everything, but I am pausing for the extra loud aircraft that go over. I guess we must be really close to the airport here. Anyway, so that new moon in the sign of Cancer, and with Mercury retrograde going through that sign, that is your 9th house. The 9th house is about your travel and to distant places, not close by, distant places. It's also about your philosophy of life, or even your spiritual beliefs and the system of beliefs that you follow in your life. And there might be some kind of review going on there. Okay, so there might be a review to travel plans that you've got, like maybe you decide to change those because of Mercury's going retrograde. So there's some kind of new beginning for your travel or your philosophy of life, or actually also the 9th house is about higher learning, so university learning, something where you're getting beyond the everyday, you're getting beyond like literacy or numeracy or crafts and skills. You're getting into the higher level, more esoteric types of learning, or philosophy, but or very specialized. Okay, where you're seeing the bigger picture of things. You've got some kind of review there. Maybe you've written an essay or a report for your university course, and you have to do it again because of Mercury retrograde. But there's a new beginning. Perhaps there's a realization through whatever it is you have to revise or research or put this extra time into because of having to redo things, where there's some learning from that, and you know, there's a development that could be part of a new start with the new moon. Sorry for moving around. I'm leaning on my knee now. Okay, so as well as that, there's a lot going on with the basket, Barbault's basket. So that's involving Jupiter and Pluto, Neptune and Uranus, and a little bit Saturn as well. And so with all of that, I think it's almost too big to see. But if you're noticing new and strange and exciting ideas coming into your life, or propositions, or new waves of technology, work towards embracing them. And you might need to integrate a little bit before you can fully embrace them, but do let some possibility of those in. Okay, but yeah, don't rush into anything big where you're signing on the dotted line until Mercury goes forward around about the 24th, 25th of July. So all the best for that, Scorpio, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Sagittarius, Sun, Moon or Rising, but especially Sagittarius Rising, the new moon in the sign of Cancer is happening in your 8th house. So there's a new moon there representing a new beginning for your 8th house, which is about your partner's resources or your partner's money. And it's also about, it can be about where you're delving into your own deep psychology and other types of money or finances. It is a financial house. It's also associated with like investments or savings, like retirement savings. insurance payouts, the kind of large amounts of money where you don't have really access to it, but it's somehow connected to you. So there's some new beginning there, but there's something to revise as well, because Mercury is going backwards through that house. So there's something to go back over and check in on and maybe redo. And the eighth house, it can also be about occult mysteries. So maybe where you're exploring into the underlying esoteric underpinnings of things that you can access sometimes through tarot or other divination methods. Okay, so there's that. Underneath everything with the eighth house, there is power. Okay, it's a house of power, looking at the underlying power of things. It's often seen as a dark and dangerous house. Even it's a house of transformation and death and rebirth, and I don't know, maybe with Mercury retrograde there's something to look at in your psychological layers, maybe something you've been working at resolving and integrating with your shadow side, and you thought you'd done with it, but it comes back and you have to do it again, you have to look at it again. But anyway, one nice thing about the eighth house, so nice is not the word, because everything in the eighth house is kind of dramatic. So nice is a little bit too light of a word, but something that's kind of special about the eighth house, it is a house of intimacy. So if you have a partner, and whether that is a business or a life partner, like whether this is physical intimacy or emotional intimacy, you know, intimacy can happen, and there could be this revision of the ways that you connect intimately and share your vulnerabilities with another, share your deep dreams, share your deep desires and fears. And that could be really neat thing to be revising and getting to know each other better with the eighth house. Okay, so all the best for that, Sagittarius. Okay, so if you are Capricorn, sun, moon or rising, but especially Capricorn rising, this is a new moon in your seventh house, the house of your partner or the house of partnership. This could either be about the person, as in there's a new beginning for your partner, whether that's a life partner or a business partner or somebody that you spend a lot of time with on a one-to-one basis. There's some kind of new beginning, a new start, but at the same time some going back over things because of Mercury. So as I said, this could either be about the person themselves or about partnership and the way that you do partnership. All right, or the way that you do partnership together, your attitude to partnership perhaps. Is there a revision to be made there? Is there something that comes up for your partner or for the partnership, like some issue between the two of you that you thought you might have resolved, but it comes up again? So something going on there. That's a good one. It's an important one. It's on the angle. It's one of the most important parts of life, is how we do partnership. How do we find the balance between ourselves and the other, and when to give, when to take. Really important stuff. Yeah. Okay. And then Barbault's basket, you know, the amazing rare configuration between Jupiter and Pluto, Uranus and Neptune. That's not just once in a lifetime. That's not been for thousands of years. I reckon it's too big to even see, but be open to strange things, to strange new ideas, new progressive ideas, and work to integrate the new. And don't be too hard on yourself if you can't embrace it all that readily straight away, but we are moving into a new zone, new world in many ways. So all the best for that, Capricorn, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Aquarius, sun, moon or rising, but especially Aquarius rising, there's a new moon in the sign of Cancer on the 13th or 14th of July, and that is your sixth house. So there's a new beginning for your work, your daily work, or for your daily routines, for health, for exercise, how you organize your timetable in the day, your schedule, daily life. And there is a bit of a health focus with the sixth house. And also a service focus. This is the wonderful thing about the sixth house, even though it can be seen as a house with problems. Okay. Yeah, it's normally seen as a challenging house, but I like the fact that it's about giving service and being respectful of others and their needs and helping out in practical ways. So some new beginning for the ways that you give service in the world, and one of the most important of these, of course, is in your daily work. So some new beginning, but as well as that, something to revise or go over. Maybe you need to look again at some task that you've been doing and you might have to redo it. Maybe you need to look at your exercise routine and revise that because of Mercury retrograde. And yeah, Mercury retrograde is just making you have to go back over stuff to do with work or your daily routines. And I mean, it could be that you find out you don't have to work your butt off quite as much. That could be good. You might just make yourself things a little bit easier for yourself. For example, take some of the requirements you've given yourself out of your daily routines. But also where you give service in the world, think about that. It's easy, especially with you've got Cancer in your sixth house, so you probably want to nurture and emotionally support people when you are giving service. And just make sure you're not getting too much into, I guess, this could be the revision. Are you getting too much into the rescuer role and sort of feeding off that a bit too much, and instead of giving people the capacity to help themselves? Yeah, but just that emotional, you know, there can be an emotional overload with Cancer. So be aware of that. So all the best for that, Aquarius, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Pisces, sun, moon or rising, and I am one of you, we have the new moon in the sign of Cancer in our fifth house, and this is the house of our fun and play and hobbies and romance. And there's something to go back over. And for me, I guess the romance is having come to see my partner and we're having this nice romantic holiday together, like if we can figure out the vehicle thing. As I mentioned, that's a bit of the going over. Anyway, so going back over the things that come from your heart, and whether that is your romantic life, your dating life, or it could be children as well. All right, so the fifth house is to do with children. So is there something to revise about your children and how you're looking after them? And we've got Cancer in our fifth house, so we're kind of emotional and emotionally protective, and we're wanting to make sure they are emotionally okay. And Mercury going backwards through there is asking us to revise something about that. Maybe we're being too protective or not protective enough, one way or the other way. And this can also be to do with when I say hobbies, it's like the things that we create from our heart. The fifth house is like what comes from your heart and expresses out in a shining way in the world. And so maybe there's something to revise about your hobbies. I think I mentioned this on another video, sort of hoping with this little holiday in Canada that I maybe rewrite some of my songs, not rewrite them, but fix them up a little bit, tidy them up, because I like writing songs and I'm always editing, maybe too much. Maybe that's what I need to revise. Yeah, so I think this is an easier one for us Pisces, okay? And then with the Barbault's basket and the big, epic, very thousands of years rare configuration, I think we just need to be open for change coming in, be open to it, but give ourselves time to integrate as well, but accept that the change is coming, and in the end we will be embracing it and moving forwards into progression, but using healthy skepticism as we go on too. So all the best to that Pisces, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Aries, sun, moon or rising, but especially Aries rising, well, there's a new moon in the sign of Cancer, and that is your sign of home and family of origin and your roots, your ancestry even. And that new moon is saying there's a new beginning there, but also Mercury is retrograde in that sign. So there's something to go back over and revise. Maybe you're wondering where your home is. What is your home? Who do you live with? Are you revising that? Who can you live with? Or is there something about your family of origin, some arrangements that need to be made with your family to redo and review? Okay, so this new moon represents a new start. Like I said, a new home, new property to own, but something to review as well. And if there's anything like where you're buying a property or signing up for a new flatmate or something like that, maybe just check, maybe just wait until after the 24th of July, until after Mercury goes forward before you sign on the dotted line about anything. It's not the best time to be, signing contracts, unless it's not possible to delay. And sometimes that is the case, and that's okay. It might just mean that, just check the deal, check the details, cross the T's and dot the I's, and there may be some delays, but you can just sort it out and things will be fine. So yeah, good luck with whatever's going on with the family or the home, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video, Aries. Now, if you are Taurus, Sun, Moon or Rising, but especially Taurus Rising, on the 13th or 14th of July, there's a new moon in the sign of Cancer, and that is your third house. And Mercury is retrograde in your third house as well. So the third house is about the things that Mercury rules, i.e., that is communication and writing and speaking and connecting with the community, with the neighborhood, like going around the neighbors, talking to people. It's also about aunties and uncles and cousins, those kind of relations, and siblings as well, pretty important. So there might be something to revise with your social media, the way that you do social media. Maybe you change something, but then there's a new start as well, but maybe that comes out of a revision in some way. But it also could be with small business, because it's about, the third house is about trade and exchange. The third house is also about learning and connections with schools or courses, like local courses that you're doing. And yeah, so something to revise. Maybe an issue with your brothers or sisters has come up again, and you need to look back at it, but then there's a new beginning as well. So it's good to go back over things. It can feel frustrating at the time, but if it makes a more solid foundation for the future, that's such an important relationship, the sibling relationship. And then also, like the third house being communities and neighborhoods, that's really important as well, that things are right with the community. So yeah, this could be an issue that comes up again with neighbors. And the third house is so many things. It's also about local travel, and so there could be something that comes up. Maybe you figure out a new route to take on your way to work that's a nicer way to go, or more efficient or something. And this can be whether it's biking or walking or driving or on the bus, whatever is your transport form, probably as you're going to your daily work or just going around the neighborhoods. Or connections with schools. There could be something to review there, but a new start as well. Lots of things to do with the third house. Okay, so all the best for that, Taurus. And please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. Okay, if you are Gemini, Sun, Moon or Rising, but especially Gemini Rising, well, the new moon in the sign of Cancer that's coming up on the 13th or 14th of July, that's happening in your second house of your finances and your resources, your possessions, what you value, and your sense of self-worth. So there's some kind of new beginning for your money, for your income, a new income stream perhaps, or a new possession or resource that you're ready to buy. But because of Mercury retrograde at the time of the new moon, it's a good idea just to hold fire until after the 24th of July, because there's something to review as well about your finances or your resources. And maybe you need to be going back over your budget and saying, okay, what do I have the capacity for financially at the moment? And yeah, like I said, maybe wait before you buy anything. until after the 24th, after Mercury, okay, goes forward. So the second house is also about how you value yourself, like what you value in the world, your values. Like, how would you prioritize? For example, would you prioritize having the convenience of something that you can buy that makes life more convenient, like a coffee machine or a vehicle, or spending money on, oh gosh, a new vacuum cleaner or something like that, versus maybe spending less on whatever it is, but then maybe not having to work as hard and having more time for yourself? Like, what do you value? You need to put it in the order that suits you, and sometimes that order needs to be reviewed, of course. And the Mercury retrograde is a really good chance. Like, it's not very often that you're going to have a Mercury retrograde in your second house, and it can bring up problems, but through that, and you work through the problems, can be frustrating, then you can figure out what you value and the priorities. And with that, you can be reviewing how you value yourself, Gemini. Like, how do you, because the second house can also be, and this has shown up in adornment. The second house is also about how you adorn yourself, how you look pretty or beautiful and good looking and attractive. Like, what kind of money or time do you put into those things? In some ways, we don't want to get overboard with that, but in some ways that can reflect the value that you put on yourself and your body. Because the second house is about how do you support your body with the money and the finances and all of that. So there's some stuff to review there, and it could be really beneficial, but perhaps frustrating. Oh my gosh, there's a little squirrel near me. I'm so excited because I live in New Zealand. We don't have them. Can I catch it for you? Oh, can you see it? Come right on the bench. Oh, that's so exciting. I can't turn the camera around while I'm actually recording, but that was very cute, a little black squirrel. Okay, thank you, Gemini. Good luck with that, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. Okay, so thanks everybody. Like I said, I'm in Vancouver, and my recordings, if I manage to do them over the next few weeks, will be a bit rough around the edges, like this one. And I feel pleased if I get time to do it, and I hope that that's still helpful, because there's some really big astrology happening in July, and I want to be able to report on it, at least to some extent. And also, I'm in Vancouver. I want to acknowledge Laurie Lothian of Lunatic Astrology, because she lives here and I follow her, and she's great. And I'm just hoping I might see her at a supermarket somewhere. You never know. But anyway, should never see this, I'm sure, but I'm going to say hi to Laurie. I'm in your town. I really enjoy your videos back in New Zealand. Okay, bye for now, everybody. All the best for the new moon, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video.